Back to Retrieving Sanity with our podcast host Keegan, and we're here today to speak with Shruti Sethi, a cancer survivor, is nutritionist, cancer coach, and her team have successfully reversed chronic issues for many people, including thyroid disorders, cardiovascular diseases, and infertility. Let's find out how she does it and what she does as a cancer coach. So, how are you doing today, ma'am?
Thank you so much for having me, Keegan. It's an honor, really. And anytime, every time I share my story, and my whole purpose is to help people and tell people that, healing is so much possible. It seems very difficult, but that's the only thing which really will matter you and your own health. If you take responsibility and if you really understand that the mind, body, and soul, everything is connected, and you have the ability to heal. And that's a very powerful thing to do, and it's very easy. It's not like a rocket science.
It's not rocket science, huh? Well, if they're all interconnected, how did you find out that they were so connected?
Yeah, so I would like to take your audience back in time in 2016 when I got diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. It's an immune system cancer. And I really didn't know back then what is immune system. After COVID, everybody knows about immunity, etc. But I really had no idea. It was very shocking to me. I was 34 years that time. It was just like somebody's, as a big rock on my head, and I didn't know how to take that rock off because I couldn't think, I couldn't breathe. I was all alone. My parents were here in New York and I was in India when I got that diagnosis. I had no history of cancer running in my family. I never went to the hospitals. And it was, again, when you go to the doctors, you ask certain questions. How did I get cancer? And they don't have really answers to give you. There's maybe because of this. So really it was up to me to understand how cancer happens, what are the cofactors, what happens, and why does somebody develop cancer. And when I really had to dig it and I had to ask around, join forums, talk to people, I understood that cancer just doesn't take all of a sudden to happen. It takes years for your body to develop it. And we every day fight cancer. We have cancer cells every freaking day.
Really?
And our immune system is responsible. The NK cells is responsible to kill those cancer cells. So I was like, what the heck was my immune system doing, and why was I not told about it? We learn in science, but it's not like a deep science, or we are not really given such information.
Yeah.
Right. So then I understood that it's like 70% of, actually 80 to 90% of the cancers is due to your bad lifestyle.
Oh, wow.
What is lifestyle? According to me, I was a vegetarian that time. I was going to the gym. I thought that I was taking care of my health and my physical health as such, looking good in that ways. But I did not know that health is so deep. It's like mind and body, and the mind and body is connected. And I was really stressed. Like, I was living a very stressful life. I was a fashion designer back then. I had my own label. I was doing working late hours, and I was going through a very, very hard time just before I got cancer, because I was also going through a divorce. And it was all of a sudden everything came, like my financial issues, personal relationship issues, health issues, all compiled and came together at one point.
Oh.
And I just didn't understand how did I cripple so badly. And it was all that lifestyle, underlying issues which I always had since childhood. I was dairy intolerant. I never understood that dairy could cause certain issues. I had a lot of hormonal imbalances, including a lot of acne on my face. I had fibroids in my uterus, which was actually a discovery of the PET scan. I never knew that I had fibroids. When you go to the doctors, they give you is a pill. Like, I was given birth control pills to balance my hormones, but that was it. Not changing the lifestyle, not understanding what products I was using or whatever else other things. Now we are pretty much aware.
Yeah.
That time it was, I had asthma, I had gut issues. So everything was compiling together. And cancer is, of course, a multifactorial thing. It's your lifestyle. It is also underlying issues like inflammation in your body, hormonal imbalances, stress, sleep. Everything can trigger cancer cells. Yeah. So for me, it was like such an eye opener because I said, why was I not told about this? Why was I, when you go to the physician, they only check little, very, like, not like basic parameters. They don't even check your
Yeah.
vitamin D levels and stuff. And my vitamin D levels were extremely low.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
So that's like in the conventional therapy and the conventional medicine, they actually compartmentalize your body. Like you go to the, say, lung
Yeah.
specialist, you go to the kidney specialist, you go to gut specialist or whatever.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
holistic is like the full whole body approach. Everything is so deeply connected. Which I was like, okay, this is something that's so fascinating. And I started applying those principles of holistic health. When I was taking, I was stage 3. I had to take chemotherapy. I did not say no to conventional therapy, but also I thought I'm going to change my lifestyle. I am going to change my diet. So number one thing which I did was working under someone. I changed my diet to a whole plant-based diet. And
Wow.
then secondly, I was also working on my mind, like getting the stress levels down, talking to a therapist, and whatever anger issues I had, whatever frustration, and I was really not accepting cancer. I was like fighting it, like I was fighting it.
Yeah.
God, like you're giving me this, now I'm going to be a fighter. Like I'm going to fight everything out. And in that process, I was actually hurting myself.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine.
So, then I had anger, like I was blaming everyone. I was blaming my ex-husband, I was blaming my parents, I was blaming other people for my condition, but not taking responsibility. And taking responsibility of your own self is the most difficult thing which anybody could do. Because you like to blame and you like to like just belittle others, but not yourself. So you really have to understand, why has this cancer come into my life? Contemplate and like really write down in journals. I hate journaling, but now I love it. But to understand yourself better and better, and really see yourself as you are. So then slowly and gradually I started getting results. The nausea was gone, the pains I had, terrible pains while taking chemotherapy was gone. I had gut issues which was gone. I was feeling energetic
Oh, wow.
actually. And then just 4 chemos, the cancer was absolutely subsided. So I was actually, that's a very fascinating story. I was sitting in a meditation one day and I got some sort of a deep intuition that I'm cancer free now. And I went to the doctors. I told that I want to get a PET scan. Usually the PET scan is done after 6 chemos, but this time I told them no, I want to get it done, and we got the PET scan done, and there was no cancer in my body.
Ah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
That
awesome.
was amazing. The doctors were
Yeah.
amazed, and I was like, wow, like, such a normal person could achieve such level of deep intuition in just such small time. And I think
Yeah.
I felt that I am powerful. I can, I can do it. But that took
Yeah.
a process. Like it took some discipline, it took consistency, it took some faith and some sort of patience with my being with in the journey. And you see the results, and I was like, okay, no, I don't want to take any more radiation or any therapy. And my
Oh, I
doses were
don't blame you.
reduced. I did not take radiation. I refused it. I told my doctors if it comes back, I'm going to come back. But I really wanted to not get these toxic medications in myself.
Yeah.
So I ran away from the city. I started
Oh,
fresh.
wow.
I just took 1 year off. I did not work. I only focused on my health. I was very fortunate to do that.
Oh, boy.
Deep into yoga and meditation, deep breathing and nutrition and detoxing and all. And then, I'm living actually cancer free since 8 years now.
Wow.
Yeah. So
That is so cool.
I know I've not taken a single medication, no HRTs, no other therapies going on. I'm
Oh,
very
boy.
fortunate that I was all open to try the holistic health, and now of course I help people.
Yeah.
And we've seen miracles, like people coming from fourth stage and people who've been told to go and they cannot recover, coming out as warriors. And I like to say warriors, not survivors, like because you are a warrior, like you fought
Yeah.
cancer so bravely, and now you're living fearlessly. That's what I am living like. I don't have any fear of cancer. Even if it's comebacks, I know what to do. That's what I like to educate people about. And I like to educate people that don't wait for cancer to happen. Because not everyone is as strong mentally and financially, or whatever you are not that strong. You don't have that support system sometimes. So
Yeah.
why wait for anything drastic to happen? Change now.
Yeah.
In
Change now.
US, there are 17,000 deaths in a single minute due to cancer. Can you
A
imagine
minute?
the figure? Yeah.
A minute?
A minute.
How did we come up with a minute? That's a lot of people.
Exactly, exactly. It's like crazy. It's crazy and it's growing, and more younger people are getting diagnosed, and it's getting worse. By 2050, WHO has declared that if we go in the same way, 1 in 2 person actually will get cancer.
Wow. Just
So,
in 2050.
can you just imagine the statistics?
That is crazy because, I mean, I already know a few people that have had cancer, and so that just means that number is going to skyrocket.
Exactly, exactly. And
Wow.
it's our air is polluted, the water supply is polluted, our food is polluted, and then it goes into our body. Our body can't process so many things.
Yeah,
And
this is
we
true.
have to, like, what do? We can't change the environment to a level, so we have
Yeah.
to think about the strategies for our body to, I mean, have
Yeah.
these, make our body more stronger, immunity more stronger.
So how do we do that?
Yeah, so see, number one is your life, this lifestyle,
Yeah, yeah.
being very aware. Like I just did, I was actually conducting a webinar before that on food label literacy.
Ah.
So number one is to check, because we go out and we buy foods, we need to check the labels. How much sodium does it contain? Does it contain any other kind of chemicals? The processing, everything. We have to be very aware of what products are we consuming on a day-to-day basis. Food
Is that
additives, colorants, so many things are there in our food. We don't even know. So we have to like demand good quality products, and I believe each and everyone can demand it because it's our health.
yeah,
Number two is,
yeah,
of
for sure.
course, your personal care products. You're using, if the women are using a lot of makeup and products who have estrogen dominant, like they disrupt the hormones so much
Really?
with all these chemicals, like the perfumes or makeup, any kind of lipsticks we are using, which are chemical laden. All
Whoa.
these brands could be top brands, but they're using so many chemicals to process these products. So
Huh.
change that. Then the other thing is your pollution. What can you do about it? Like,
Not a lot.
so get more plants in your
Oh,
house,
yeah, I got
surround
some plants in my
yourself.
house.
Take care of the like the radiation aspect of it. So that's very important. Plus your lifestyle. So in this country, 70% of the people are deficient in fiber. Like
Oh,
they don't
yeah,
eat
that's,
fiber.
yeah, we don't have a lot of fiber here, do we?
Yeah, so we should include a lot of cruciferous vegetables like broccoli and cabbage. They have cancer fighting properties.
They
Then
do.
adding spices like curcumin,
Uh-huh.
cinnamon, all of these spices have, again, they are anti-inflammatory. So
Oh,
adding those in your diets.
okay.
Plus, yeah, like making sure that whatever dairy is again associated with a lot of hormonal cancers, breast, ovarian, prostate.
Really? I had
Yeah,
no idea.
because they kind of give the cow those hormones injection to have more milk produced, and those
That would make
hormones
sense.
actually goes in our body and disrupts us, and then we have a lot of breast cancer is associated with dairy products, so you want to make sure that
Huh. That is
you,
so
I
strange.
would say, just because of we don't know what is, where is the dairy coming from, and what
Yeah.
is that grass being fed to the cows or not. So better to avoid dairy products, I would say.
That's really good to
And
know.
if you are a non-vegetarian, so make sure that you're not having very processed chicken or whatever, because they use a high content of salt and sodium in preserving it.
So, what are some of the things on the label that we need to avoid? You mentioned food dyes and sodium. What are some
The red
preservatives
dyes, I
that?
think they're banned now in US, and I think some states the food
Oh,
additives could be not this thing on added sugar, the fructose and the corn syrup which is used, and the added sugars actually the dextrose and everything, they actually more, they spike your insulin more, and
really?
the cancer cells love this high insulin and they love sugar.
I did
So
not know that.
make sure that you're using natural forms of sugar, not like these additives and added sugar. They
So,
actually are very bad for your health because, again, chemically
huh.
processed.
Okay, so you're saying that the fake sugar, the fake sweeteners, are actually like a super booster to cancer cells.
Absolutely, yes.
That is so strange. I would have thought that it was not necessarily the opposite, but I would have thought that it didn't have any effect necessarily. But I guess the fake sweetener acts just like the actual sweetener, it just gives the cells a boost. Huh. That's so strange. And I never would have thought that dairy products would have had such an effect on breast cancer. But,
Yeah, yeah.
huh.
And even like, GMO products, like I would say in this country, the gluten, the wheat, we spray so much of glyphosates. There's a chemical. It's actually banned in UK and
Really?
Australia. But US still
Huh.
applies to most of its crops.
Huh.
And
Okay. So, is there a way that we can try to maybe get that kind of product without that chemical?
yeah, so switch to organic products or switch to heirloom kind of wheats which has low gluten because
Okay.
generally it is more genetically modified.
Ah,
Yeah,
huh.
so the ancient grains or the ancient wheat, or maybe switch to things like, I would say, more millet based things, quinoa or foxtail millets, which are there, which are much more easier to digest and break down because these, you think that wheat is healthy, but the way it is processed and the way, even if you see a whole wheat bread which is like brown in color, so you make sure that even if the breads you're picking up has only 2 or 3 ingredients, that's it.
Two or three.
The
Huh.
more ingredients a packaged food has, the more harmful it is. It
Yeah.
should be less, and it should be something which we can understand. They're like, there's some
Yeah.
P7 number or some number E45. We don't understand why do we want to put it in our bodies.
Yeah, it doesn't sound natural, so
Yeah.
it doesn't sound good.
Exactly. I mean, I've never seen a label on if you could see a banana in the nature, it won't have a label. And a lot of people have misconception that fruits will spike their sugar level. But they
Really?
will avoid the fruits, but they'll have the other processed foods which has actually more amount of sugar, right?
Like,
So there's like such a irony to it. You
yeah.
need some sort of glucose because body
Uh,
needs that energy. And coming from natural, like say dates and fruits or some sweetened vegetables like sweet potatoes or something, is actually good to have because your body
yeah.
knows how to process it. But your body doesn't know how to process that added sugars in form of processed sugars, which is
Okay.
there. So
And so
it's
then,
it's logic. Like you need to have that knowledge to pick up. Like I work with a lot of people who have diabetes, and I tell you, I kid you not, in 3 months we've reversed people's diabetes, type 2,
wow.
just by educating them and telling them better choices, getting them on a gluten-free diet plus. And they were so afraid of eating mangoes and bananas and dates because they thought that's it's sugar, but they were eating the process, like they were taking stevia, they were taking other type of processed sugar. So it is just a matter of changing your lifestyle and being aware, and because it's so difficult now in this world. Everything which you pick up has certain
Yeah.
chemicals and it comes in plastic. Again, plastic, microplastics is such a
Yeah.
huge, I would say, it actually mimics estrogen.
Really?
Yeah, so what happens when
Huh.
you have a packaged food which is wrapped in plastic? The microplastics leaches in the food and it mimics estrogen and actually imbalances our hormones more and more.
That's crazy. I
And
never would
then
have thought.
you're drinking out of plastic, you're eating out of plastic, you're storing your food in plastic. So our body doesn't have an ability to process plastic. Now there's a test called where you can understand the plastic in your body, like microplastics in your body. There's a test which you can actually see. There's a whole new research about plastic found in your brain, in your
In your
breast, in your
brain?
testes.
I'm sorry, did you say your brain?
Brain. I'm not kidding. Brain in your
What?
breast, because wherever there is good fat stored, the
Uh-huh.
microplastics will go and deposit there.
So I guess the blood-brain barrier doesn't do anything there.
Yeah, so even
No.
now the newborn babies have plastic in their in them. So
Whoa.
can you imagine what we are doing with our bodies and with our environment?
Mm-mm. No, that soon we're going to be like 50% plastic.
Exactly. Yeah, soon we are going to be plastic, more than plastic, 50%. So that's very true. And we do not know how to process the plastic. We do not know how to remove plastic from it. The liver and
Yeah,
kidney doesn't process the plastic.
yeah, because plastic is so unnatural that our body can only work with things that are natural, which would make sense that the fake sugars and stuff
Yeah.
just don't do the trick. That just really does add on top of everything. So you've got processed food that can be wrapped in plastic, treated with hormones, and if you're stress eating, you have everything right there for just creating a bunch of cancer cells all at once. They can all of a sudden turn haywire and your immune system can't keep up. Is that kind of how that worked?
Absolutely right. You got it.
Oh man. So whenever you said you were having to change your lifestyle, you sounded like you were living a really healthy lifestyle and everything except for your mindset. So whenever you changed your mindset and you educated yourself, that's how you were able to start beating it.
Yeah,
So,
actually, everything is in your mindset. Once you prepare your mind. What was my goal? My goal was to live a cancer free life. I did not, I mean, when you go to the hospital and you look at people, there were people who had secondary forms of cancer, people, relapse was happening to them. I said, I'm not going to go there. I
yeah.
will do anything and everything to remain in this cancer free zone because life is hell. Literally,
Yeah.
it is hell.
I'm
The
sorry.
doctor's appointments, you will waste a lot of time in going, and then you don't have energy. You have that stress of the treatments, the costs are so expensive. I said, it's okay. For me, and people generally have, eating organic is so expensive, eating a whole plant-based diet is so expensive. What is not
Uh-huh.
expensive? Going to the doctors after 4 years and then right now changing your diet. And it's all matter of a perspective. It's all a matter
Yeah.
of what your goal is. And my goal is to, of course, live a long and healthy and disease-free life. So I will do anything and everything, exercising good, like going out in the nature, connecting with nature, really calming my senses down, not living in this stress situation because I was and it didn't do me good.
Yeah. And how did you figure out that you were so stressed? Because whenever you live so stressed, you don't feel like you're stressed, right?
That's very true. I didn't know that I was because I thought that it's everybody's part of, whatever, everybody goes through the same thing. But I was, when you have that constant thing in your mind and not living in present and just thinking about future or the past, then you know that you are absolutely stressed. This is a simple technique to understand. Oh, your mind is always racing in the future and not enjoying today, whatever you have. And the second thing, if you don't have gratitude.
Ooh, I like that.
Gratitude for whatever you're doing, for whatever you've really had in life, accomplished in life, and always racing for these materialistic things and stuff, and not having gratitude for smallest things in your life. Like can you just imagine you're getting up and you're alive? When you go to the
Yeah.
hospital, when I went to the hospital, I realized all of these things. It was such a eye opener.
Yeah.
That I'm
I can
alive.
imagine.
Even while doing chemotherapy, I used to see other people and said, I'm not going through anything. When you see children getting cancer treatments, it's just so you become humble as a person.
Yeah, I can imagine. Because that definitely is something that is way out of your control at first, but you were able to actually wrangle a control on it, which is something that a lot of people struggle to do.
Yeah. So I
So,
think the main thing, what I would say, I started giving myself that time, accepting what I was going through. The first thing is to accept. Okay, I
hmm
am going through cancer. I have to do certain things. I'm just going to go through it by day and day, not really think about my future. Do certain things. I had a regime. I used to meditate. I had really removed some time to connect with my family, loved ones, and really let go of that let go of that stuck emotions in my body. And that when you go to a therapist, I actually went to a holistic doctor, and all
okay.
he did was sat me in a room with a camera in my face, and all he asked me was certain questions. And I remember
hmm
for 2 hours I was just crying and crying and crying and crying and letting
hmm
go of those emotions and from my body. And I felt
hmm
so relieved after that.
That is awesome. It's something to really talk about the power of emotions and the
Yes,
amount of energy that they actually hold in us. So, do you think that just bottling emotions was something that contributed to building the cancer that you developed?
100%, 100%, because you know it it is more from a ancient Ayurvedic perspective. The hidden emotion,
hmm
when you don't communicate, they are a lot some 17,000 or 18,000 times more harmful than you actually spit it out.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. It's
Huh.
written in our in Rig Veda, one of our ancient philosophical and our religious books.
Uh huh.
That
I mean,
yeah, and it's like everything is so well defined about our emotions and all, but still we don't.
uh huh.
The modern society, the modern world is so that we are running
Disconnected.
around. We don't have time to sit with ourselves and really understand what's going on.
Yeah.
So I'm very actually grateful for cancer to slow me down, slow me down for a while.
That's a first that I've heard someone say that they were glad that they got cancer. And I can say that that really shows a changed mindset.
Yeah,
And that is beautiful because you're able to sit there and say, hey, I can actually sit here, stop and smell the roses for a little bit now and appreciate life
absolutely.
instead of just having to go, 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 go.
Yeah,
And that is one of the things I think everyone in the world can really just learn is how to slow down. So,
absolutely. So nice. I mean, cancer gave me the purpose of my life, is to
ooh.
help people, and I get so much of the knowledge and the wisdom I had in those 2 3 years while
Mhm.
I was suffering with all this thing, and now I can apply that knowledge and wisdom and help other people. What more could I ask for from my life? Because I sleep so well and satisfied that I'm able to contribute to others'
Mhm.
life and people who are going through cancer, to
Mhm.
just give them some hope and tell
Yeah.
them that if I can do it, you can also do it.
Mhm.
So it's a huge thing, and I'm very very people often, whatever they are going through, they will just label them as good as bad without knowing what, when you look behind and you now can see whatever you've gone through was actually transforming you into a better person.
Mhm. And so you're able to not only do that for yourself, you do this for other people now because you're a cancer coach. And I
Yeah.
think that's the first time that I've heard someone refer to that as a coach. Because who else better to walk someone through it than someone that's been through it, you
Yeah.
know? And that's what a coach really should be, is someone that's been there, done that, and leading the way for someone else through experience.
Yeah,
So
and
what are some
I came into it like, by chance. So
Yeah.
it's a very funny story.
Okay.
When I was going through it, and I was like, have these conversations with God, and I told him that, oh, please, God, if I get well, I'm definitely going to share my wisdom and knowledge and help people. Okay, that was
Mhm.
that. After that, once I changed my city, I went to a very different place. I started sharing my story and journey, and
Mhm.
some CEO of a company was there sitting, and then he called. He was so fascinated by my journey. He called me to give a talk in his firm.
Ah.
Yeah, and then
Huh.
he told me that, work with us. I said, what do I work with? Like, what do I do? I don't. I mean, I've never worked in a corporate, and it was like a drug company. It was a very
Uh-huh.
famous drug company. And he told me, you do
Huh.
whatever you want. You become a holistic coach here, take sessions, take seminars, help people with their health. And in that process, we did a plastic campaign where we eradicated a lot of plastic bottles and gave everybody steel bottles,
Huh.
educated people, the rural people. I've worked with almost 200 people and
Oh,
really
wow.
understood the level of stress they were going through. We started doing yoga. We did a lot of in the office campus. We had these seminars going on. We had health retreats for the employees. So that gave me a lot of confidence, and then I started actually educating myself into the nutritional field, and I did a lot of
Uh-huh.
courses and whole plant-based nutrition course. Then I did functional medicine courses. Then I did a cancer coaching course and lifestyle
Oh,
course.
wow.
So many courses. And during COVID,
Uh-huh.
I was actually working with some under someone, and then people started coming to me for help, the cancer patient,
Uh-huh.
because they couldn't go to the doctors and hospitals and they were suffering. And then I was like, okay, let me help them, and that's how I started working with cancer people, like people who were suffering with
Ah.
cancer. And my first two cases were ovarian cancer patients, relapse
Oh.
patients, which was so difficult. And we got wonderful results in them, and they're living cancer free. They were fourth stage. And
Nice.
yeah, and then I said, oh my God, I have to make this formal. And that's how I uh, registered my firm called Avana Health. And we have not only me, but there are naturopaths, there are healers, there are yoga therapists, there are doctors,
Oh,
the integrative
boy.
oncologist. We work hand in hand with, and we have clients from all over the world, and not only cancer but all chronic issues. Now I'm in New York. I see patients one to one and help them through their journey. And it's not only the nutrition part, but with the energy psychology, where we let the stress, like, to make them
Huh.
empower them to live a fulfilled, healthy, and really powerful life.
And I think that that's important that you said fulfilled because it sounds like that was maybe what you were missing the whole time.
Exactly, exactly, exactly. I was never
Wow.
happy as a person, never.
Huh. So, how did you find out that fulfillment was what you were missing?
Same, I think, when you go through cancer, you go through so many emotions, ups and downs. And I had to sat myself down and I said, go back in my childhood and understand my patterns. You can understand a lot of your patterns. I was
Yeah.
like, I was always chasing and chasing, and I had everything. Like, I was really successful as a fashion designer, but I was never happy. I was chasing success, I was chasing money, I was chasing relationships,
Uh-huh.
I was chasing people, I was a people pleaser. I never
Uh,
was like focusing on myself. Like, what do I want? As like, it's all materialistic, but what is my inner being really want?
uh-huh.
And why am I chasing people to be in with me or in my life? Because I was lacking that self-love for myself.
Ooh,
I was
self-love.
not in sync with myself. I didn't like my own company because I thought that I am not enough.
And that's a really hard feeling to actually hold.
Yeah.
And
And a lot of people don't know. I didn't know until unless I really had to slow down and understand myself and my patterns. And that takes a lot of courage and eye-opening things. And you have to accept
yeah, it
it.
does take a lot of courage.
Yeah.
So you didn't just face a battle on one front. You faced a battle on many fronts all at the
Yep.
same time. And so now you're sitting here helping people do the same thing. So what's your favorite method to help someone get over the first hump of I can't do this?
Yeah. I think the first one is, simply letting people talk.
Hearing people out, letting them talk.
Absolutely. Just tell me whatever your fears are. What are you feeling right now? Tell me about your family. Tell me about what was happening 2 years before cancer.
Oh,
Let that stuck emotions go away from your body. And then slowly building that rapport that we are there to help you in any way,
okay.
and giving that support system, telling, it's actually very difficult because you are going through such such toxic treatment that your body and your mind is
Mm-hmm.
already living in that state of flight and fear mode.
Uh-huh.
Flight, fear.
Uh-huh.
And all you could do is very slowly take them through few steps, through first guide them through
Mm-hmm.
somewhat changing. The first level is your nutrition, because once you start feeling a little okay, then your mind will be open, it's that way. When you are
Okay.
physically fit, then you are open to more things. But if you're not physically
Oh,
fit, how will you be able to transcend or understand other things? So I
gotcha.
want them to feel a little okay, and then okay, and then okay, and then slowly and gradually we have these beautiful group sessions also, where we
Mm-hmm.
talk about what's going on in their life, their mental health, or what are they getting stuck off. They're just telling them about their own system and body and
Mm-hmm.
emotions, talking about energies, talking about chakras. Like we have 7 energy
Ooh.
centers in our body. So which
Mm-hmm.
chakra is associated with what? Empowering them,
Mm-hmm.
taking them through a visualization meditation, which really helps the cancer patients slow down and calm down, which also helped me going through chemotherapy. So
Oh
there's
yeah.
small methods, and it's a very individualistic. So I have to really
Mm-hmm.
understand what the other person is thinking. How ready is he
Mm-hmm.
or she? I cannot just, just stick some sort of formula or a method on them. It is very
Yeah.
individualistic, and it I had to slow down the pace, because cancer
Mm.
is not that easy thing to deal with.
Yeah, if it were easy to deal with, then you wouldn't be doing what you're doing necessarily. Well, maybe you would, because it sounds like you're compassionate enough that you would be in the healthcare field regardless. Whenever you're helping someone get into that mindset to try new things, I love that you're hearing them out first, because you're treating them as a person. And it's really cool that you mentioned that helping them get to feel better will help them get physically better, which will open them up to new things. Because I haven't really thought about it like that before. Because it really does take feeling good physically to say, yeah, you know what, I'll go ahead and try something new, something different. Because if I'm feeling bad, I know what makes me feel good. So why would I do anything different? I never thought about that. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I mean, I learned it while, as I'm like talking about 50, 60, 100, till up to 100 patients, and that's how I
Hmm.
understood that I just cannot tell them 100 things to do. It has
Hmm.
to be very systematic, because every person is so different.
Yeah. And whenever you say each person is different, you're not just talking about how they go about treatment. You're talking about how they developed it in the first place,
Mm-hmm.
because that will completely change on everything. And that's why you said, tell me about what's happened in the last 2 years. Do you go further than 2 years sometimes?
Yeah, so we try and analyze the root cause. So what happens? What is root
Hmm.
cause?
Yeah.
We try and understand from the conception of their birth. How were they born? Were they born through C-section or a vaginal birth? To
Hmm.
that level. Then how were their childhood? Were there any traumas associated? Because
Hmm.
I know I had a lot of
Wow.
trauma, childhood traumas, etc.
Hmm.
Then how were they as a student? Were they
Hmm.
good? How many friends do they have? What is their social circle? What is their social life? How are they introvert? Are they extrovert? How are their family relationships? Are they going through some rough patches in their relationships with their spouses, with their parents, with their siblings? So everything we take into consideration. How was
Wow.
their genetic health? So we have advanced tests such as gut panels, food sensitivity,
Hmm.
plus certain things like heavy metal toxicity. Lot
Oh,
of
wow.
cancer patients we've seen heavy metal. Were they? How's your oral health? Oral
Huh.
health by me, I've found out at least in 90 to 95% cancer patients, including myself,
Hmm.
that they've had root canal or they had bad oral
Hmm.
health before they got
Hmm.
diagnosed with cancer.
Oh, that's not good news for me, because I just got a root canal.
Yeah.
Oh no.
So there's a very deep connection. Still, there are a lot of researches going on how root canal affects you getting cancer. And I actually got root canal
Ooh.
done in Jan, and I got
Uh-huh.
cancer diagnosis in April.
No.
I'm not kidding. And
Oh,
when I thought, and then I listened to this research, which was like 3, 4, 5 years back, I was
uh-huh.
shocked.
Whoa. Okay, so I'm going to have to do some research now myself because
Yeah.
I mean, I can be a worry word, but that does make me worry a little because that was my first root canal, and boy, did it suck.
Yeah.
I hated it.
Yeah. I think there's a field called biological dentistry these days. So if you go to a biological dentist, they will never say root canal, or they'll treat it very differently with using ozone water, and their
Huh.
method is to extract it. I mean, because they don't want to keep any infected tooth in you, that you
Mm-hmm.
eat certain things, that infection will keep going in your body again and again.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
there's a whole realm of how oral health affects your gut microbiome, plus
Mm-hmm.
immunity, plus cancer, etc.
Oh, wow. That is crazy. I had no idea, but I think it scares me more that it actually contributes to cancer
Yeah, I
because
think
that is.
you should not be get scared. It's just a knowledge thing which I'm
Uh,
sharing. But it's good to be aware about these things, right? Like it's
Yeah,
good to be
yeah,
aware.
for sure. And so, whenever you're dealing with some of these things, some of these contributing factors in someone's past, what is one of the things that makes you go, bing, that was probably the root cause?
Stress.
Stress. And so, finding the root cause of stress, I mean, can that really go all the way back to childbirth?
Yeah, that could be
Wow.
because again, my patterns as a child, so that I was always such an anxious person.
Mm-hmm.
Like I used to sweat with my hands and my feet, and my nervous system was not regulated.
Mm. Yeah.
When I understood about that, now I
Mm.
don't have any issues with this because my nervous system, I had to really work on that.
Uh-huh.
But whenever I talk to anybody who's gone through traumas like child abuse or parents' divorce, and they've left a very bad imprint on the children,
Mm-hmm.
and they've formed certain value systems around that, which they
Mm-hmm.
carry it with themselves for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And they blame, and or they blame themselves, which
Mm-hmm.
is such a deep rooted emotion, and it could really lead to a lot of problems in life.
And so, how does someone really unroot something that can be so deeply rooted in their past?
I think the first thing is about being aware that you need help. Is very
Mm,
important,
okay.
because if you're not accepting it, nobody can help you. Then the
Okay.
second point is that sometimes you need a second person's perspective, especially going to a psychologist or a
Uh-huh.
therapist, and really
Mm-hmm.
talking it out, and let them help you, because sometimes you can't help yourself. Talking to a professional is my advice, especially somebody who's going through cancer, because it's very easy when you just sit like you need help, and let the other person help you, because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we are so tight, and we think that we know everything, but that's not you, that's your ego mind, and that's actually trying to protect you. So
So ego mind is trying to protect you.
yeah,
So
sometimes
ego
the ego man
mind,
tries to protect you because they don't want to change, they want to
uh-huh.
live in that comfort zone.
And that comfort zone is what can help breed cancer, unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah.
Huh.
I feel the best thing about me getting cancer was that me coming out of my comfort zone, because I was so I loved being certain way and do certain way, but then this universe, I mean God or universe or any kind of source energy started pushing me
Mm-hmm.
that if you want to grow in life, you have to go through this. And I'm glad I
Mm.
went through this. Now I'm like so open, and I don't have these, I can easily try different things because now I have an
Yeah.
open mind.
So what about trying roller coasters? Are you open to trying those?
Yeah, I'm pretty much. I want to try all the what say sports, and I've always been like open to trying sports and extreme sports and stuff. But
Oh,
I definitely want to
nice.
try skydiving. That's on my list.
Ooh, I've always wanted to go too. And you're a cancer warrior, so I bet that would be exhilarating as all fun.
Yeah, I'm
Like, that
sure.
would be. So, what are some of the things that you look forward to being cancer free and helping all those people fight it themselves? Because you said that your goal was to live a long, disease-free life, so it sounds like you're doing it. But what is one of the other things?
So I feel I'm much more healthier than I was in my 30s. Now I'm in my 40s.
Oh, wow.
Number one. So it took consistency, it took some discipline. It
Mm-hmm.
takes a routine for me to follow, because on the principles of an anti-inflammatory diet,
Mm-hmm.
because cancer loves inflammation and you want to stay away from inflammation. So
Uh-huh.
for me, I obviously have to be disciplined. I have to exercise, I have to eat well,
Mm-hmm.
I have to be making sure that I take enough antioxidants in my diet, proper
Oh.
supplementations, proper fiber, have
Mm-hmm.
colored vegetables,
Uh-huh.
stay away from seed oils and a lot of these processed things and all. I don't
Hmm.
drink dairy. I'm a vegan, like a whole plant based, not like a unhealthy vegan, but a healthy vegan. That I've been 8 years, and and my markers are
Yeah.
absolutely great. My doctors, when they look at it, they're like, wow. And my biological age is around 27, 28.
Wow.
So keeping, first of all, please go out and do your test twice in a year. Check your
Hmm.
CRP levels, ESR levels, check your vitamin D levels,
Hmm.
because there's a strong association between cancer and vitamin D. Very, very strong association. So make sure
Huh.
that you're having your vital nutrients, your omega, your
Mm-hmm.
good fats, and a good amount of fiber in the day. Make
Okay.
sure that you are exercising,
Mm-hmm.
because when you exercise you actually produce more NK cells, which fight the cancer cells. Practice deep breathing, like deep breathing,
Mm.
because most of the people, I also take certain yoga sessions for cancer patients and stuff, and I've seen people not breathing well, like they don't know how to breathe in. They generally breathe through their mouth, which is
Mm-hmm.
wrong. Not
Mm-hmm.
wrong, but ideally you should breathe through your nose. Then practicing meditation, really calming your mind down. That's
Mm-hmm.
something which you could do, and work on your social life and working on your relationship with your parents, your spouses, your siblings is important.
Mm-hmm.
Having harmony and living happily. Like, so how do I live happily? Is because I'm
Yeah, yeah.
living a very purpose driven life. I get up and I'm like, okay, what can I contribute to other people's lives today? It could
Mm-hmm.
be anybody's. It could be my animals or anybody, a stranger. Because when you contribute, right, you're giving something. That's the most satisfied feeling of any human could achieve. If you talk to even a
Yeah.
beggar, when the beggar gives something to other person, they will feel accomplished. So you
Mm-hmm.
have to start thinking from that level.
Yeah.
So I feel that's something which everybody, your happiness could be anything, just going out and walking in the nature, connecting with
Mm-hmm.
anyone, just having a good phone call, laughing it out. So do
Mm-hmm.
some things which make you happy. It could be simple things, not like going out and shopping. That's very temporary. But doing
Yeah.
something which really elevates you. Then I would say, having if somebody's uh, family has already a history of cancer, make
Mm-hmm.
sure you do the genetic test. It is
Genetic
expensive,
test.
but and there is something called
Mm-hmm.
epigenetics, where you can actually reverse the genetics to some
Oh, wow.
extent, or you can actually lock that through
Huh.
supplementations and through diet and lifestyle.
Interesting.
Prevention, when it comes to cancer, I think prevention is better than cure for sure.
Mm-hmm.
We have made such great advancements, and listen to your body. What is it saying? Is it in pain? Go for your
Mm-hmm.
screenings. Understand your hormones. Understand how are you feeling in a day. Are your energy
Mm-hmm.
levels dipping? Are you waking up fresh in the morning? What is happening? Just stay in tuned with yourself.
Mm. And that is really good to know that all of those things can contribute to, well, developing cancer or really just having a bad mental state too. So
Absolutely.
it's strange that both of those go hand in hand. So I wonder how many tests or how many studies, I should say, have been done on mental health and
Oh
cancer.
my God, there are hundreds of studies, and Harvard
Huh.
has come up with such amazing studies on stress and cancer. And
Mm-hmm.
they've clearly said that most of the cancers, especially with breast, ovarian, kidney, lung cancer. Like lot
Huh.
of grief is associated with lung cancer.
Oh,
A lot
wow.
of hurt emotion, like say if you have a bad relationship with your spouse, is related to your breast cancer, ovarian cancer. So the
Huh.
research is still going on, and it has been found out that stress has very, very strongly the mental health has strong relationship with you getting cancer. Because what happens when you are stressed out and when your mental health is bad? You
Yeah, what
come,
happens?
your cortisol levels rise up, your insulin spikes up, and then you have inflammation. The body is in flight and fight mode, so your, of course, your cortisol again rises up, and immune system starts to lower because immune system is going and fighting the inflammation, fighting so many things. So then you don't have enough NK cells, and of course then the cancer starts to build in and build in and build in.
Okay. And so then that's how, where you really were talking about prevention versus curing it, right? So it's cutting the head off the snake just right then and there
Yeah.
by building up those cells that help fight the cancer in the first place. But we are near the end of this episode. So real quick, I do want to say I'm so glad that you're still here, that you're being a cancer warrior and a cancer coach, that you are doing what you do for everyone else, and I'm just glad that you're here. Are there any last words that you have for anyone listening, whether it be cancer related, mental health related, just lifestyle
Yeah.
related, anything? And also, any shout outs that you want to do?
I think I just want to say that you have so many examples in front of you. You don't wait, again I'm telling you, for something drastic to happen. We have so many researches now proving that your mind, body, soul is all connected. If you have any issues, go for it. Like, just go and talk to a professional, work with a mentor. Don't think that you are spending, and doctors won't really sit with you and understand what is going on. So early on, if you could catch certain diseases, it's the best. It's best to reverse it. I work with a lot of old age people. It's very difficult at that age, and it's such an eye opener. Every time I talk to people who are old, like 60s and 70s, it's very difficult to reverse conditions. So when you're young and you
Yeah.
catch and you work with someone, you could really come out as a warrior, be it cancer, be it any chronic issues. So work on yourself, have a disciplined life, understand that cancer can be reversed. You can live a cancer free life and a long life using these 4-5 principles, which is eat, exercise, also emotions, and you are removing the toxins from your body and living a absolutely fulfilled and happy life. So work on these principles, connect with nature. And if you want any more information, I've written a book called On Cancer, about my journey transforming cancer into wellness, and it's available on Amazon. I am available on Instagram. I'm there on all the social medias, Shruti_Sethi_. My website is called www.avanahealth.com, and please ping me. I'm so happy. I'll be happy to guide you and help you in your journey. That's it. Thank you.
That is so awesome. Well, thank you very much for being on the show today, and everyone out there, thank you for listening to Retrieving Sanity. Thank you for listening on WDJY 99.1, and don't forget to go to retrievingsanity.com for a list of all the guests that have been on the show, and you can find all of her information that she just listed right there as well. And check out the YouTube, Spotify, wherever else you can find Retrieving Sanity as a podcast format, and be sure to just love each other and just keep on being a good person and just live life. So I forgot, I have one question for you. Do you know a certain number that someone can call if they are having a mental health crisis?
In US? Not really. I don't know.
That number would be 988.
Okay. Oh,
So,
great.
yeah, so if someone has a mental health crisis, whether they're having suicidal ideations, they just got a cancer diagnosis, or if they just got to be on their report card, they can call 988,
Oh,
and there will
awesome.
be someone. Yeah, there will be someone over there that's willing to talk to them and just show them that someone does love them,
Oh,
whether they
lovely.
know them or not. Yeah.
Fantastic.
So Yep. But with that, everyone, be sure to check us out next week, and we'll see you then. All right. So that was Shruti Sethi. She talked to us about being a cancer coach, how she beat cancer, how she helps other people beat cancer, and a list of other things. So please be sure to check out her website, and also be sure to check out next week's episode, because there's something going around called Kratom. Now, you may have heard of it, you may have not, but it's something that you can get in a lot of smoke shops and other convenience stores. So, the problem with it is that it does have addictive properties. A lot of people have found themselves addicted to it, and that's the problem, is that you can buy it just like you can alcohol or cigarettes, and it is causing issues in people's lives. So we speak with Matt Von Becklin, and he tells us how he fell into kratom addiction, but ultimately how he came out of it. He developed something called the Quit Kit. Now, you can go ahead and skip forward and go look up thequitkit.com if you want an idea of what this next episode's about, but he has firsthand experience of falling into kratom addiction, what it's like, and ultimately, again, how he got out of it. So be sure to check us out. But real quick, I just want to leave everyone with a few little editors, hosts, notes, whatever else you want to call them. I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. This podcast has been a work in progress, and anyone that has listened to it from the beginning knows that it has been rocky, but it has also been really awesome at the same time. So I just want to say thank you for any support ever. If you've listened to 5 seconds of the show and all you heard was hello, hello, and welcome back, and then you tuned out, that's still enough for me. Thank you for listening. But I just have to say, everyone is doing such a great job right now at trying to help out the next person. The news makes it seem like we're at each other's throat, but whenever I look around me day to day, I see a lot of people actually helping each other out. So, yeah, it is scary out there, but there's still some good out there too. So put some out and you'll get some too. So once again, thank you for listening to Retrieving Sanity on WDJY 99.1 FM. And as always, have a great rest of your day and a great weekend. And be sure to check us out next week. Much love. Schlan.